What up, everybody? This your boy Black Megas and recording audio on my phone. Trying something out, seeing if I could edit and record some videos for YouTube without having to use my camera by using an app. So let me know how the sound quality is, how everything comes out, if it comes out pretty cool. Anyway, so just finally watched The Last of Us episode 3, which focused on Bill and Frank. If you've played the video game, there's a section, I think it's chapter 4, called Billstown, where you go through this area that's full of traps and eventually meet a character named Bill, who is like a survivalist, kind of crazy dude who, before everything broke down, he was always into conspiracy theories and, you know, kind of one of those like, I live in the woods because I don't trust the government, and in order to survive like the upcoming like Holocaust or whatever the fuck, I have to live deep in the woods away from the government, blah 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 blah. One of those like Jesse Ventura type dudes. You know what I mean? If you know who Jesse Ventura is, of course you know what I mean. But yeah, so the episode was outstanding. Again, they have managed to take the source material, flesh it out, and also make changes that enhance what we had already experienced in the game. Now, just to be clear, as I've said before, probably in another video, I never finished the game, but I did get to this part, and I remember this part very, very well. Bill was a very crazy, wild, again, survivalist type of dude who believed in all types of conspiracies. And as this story played out, you get to the end and you find out he had a partner, who he was very, very close with. And you can tell from the way he reacted, he was very, very much in love with, Frank, who left him a note that they found that basically, gave an opinion from Frank that, like, he was glad to be fucking away from his crazy ass, which fucked up, like, Bill in a way, you know. But again, the changes, the things that they did, the nuances that they've done in this show, um, just made shit so much better because instead of having that animosity, it was just a pure love story. And it was just like, it was a pure love story like that somebody like me who's a romantic, I was fucking all for. It is funny because I was thinking to myself, because I was like, I don't want any like, dick, but I want this type of love. And I said that jokingly, which is kind of crude, but if you don't know, if you played The Last of Us, you get the impression that Bill and Frank had more than just a friendship. It was, something deeper, something romantic. And when Frank gave his opinion in that note, and it was kind of a negative opinion of Bill, you could tell that it kind of hurt Bill. Because Bill was like, through that whole section of the game, when he would mention Frank, he was kind of, you could tell he was kind of like jilted that Frank disappeared on him. But in this show, you got to see the whole run of Frank and Bill's relationship in a different light where, they met, you know, they fell for each other. Frank, and Bill, they had their issues, but you could tell that they loved each other and they cared for each other deeply. And then you find out Frank, is sick and is like basically kind of dying. And, through the whole thing, Bill's like taking care of him. Um, After, their trials and tribulations. And, Frank knows that he's leaving, this world and wants Bill to adhere to his wishes and help him transition to the afterlife by taking like a bunch of pills and passing off, and falling asleep, and then him holding him in his arms while that, and Bill fucking decides, yo, I can't live without you, motherfucker. So I'm gonna transition with you. And it was just like, oh. And even Frank said, he was like, yo, I'm mad at you, but at the same time, I gotta admit, this is some like truly romantic shit. And it's just like, wow. And all in the midst, of course, you see how they have a relationship with Joel and Tess, and how Joel comes to know him, and why, like Joel, like in the beginning of the episode, Joel is telling Ellie that, yeah, we need to go to this place and you need to listen to me and all that. And you get a little also, you know, commentary on the whole Tess being gone thing, and Ellie telling him like, yo, you can't blame me for this and stuff like that. But the main focus of this whole episode was on Bill and Frank, and it was fucking awesome. Like it was actually a really well told story, and it's funny because I was texting somebody while I was watching this shit, and I was like, yo, this is kind of a beautiful love story type thing. It's gonna suck when we get to the point where um you know you get to the point where Frank fucks up Bill and does some like fucked up shit with that letter, but it never got there, and I was glad it never got there because it made it a much more fulfilling story. And then you got to see like the end of the whole segment where, again, if you play the game, they get a car from Bill, and Ellie and um, Joel travel to head to the next point in their adventure. But the focus on Bill and Frank was awesome. I loved it. It was a really, really well done episode, and it's funny because I saw a tweet where they said that the showrunner, I guess that's Neil Druckmann, maybe. I don't know who they were saying exactly, but they said there's a 2 hour cut of it where they were like, it brought them to tears over it, and kind of curious to see what that 2 hour cut of it is. But it was a really, really good episode, and I think they're doing an excellent job with this of tweaking it to, enhance certain moments where they, it's not one to one with the game, but it kind of enhances certain moments, as well as continually pay homage to what the original, storyline was. So it's just a well weaved story, like seriously. And part of me hates to say that because Neil Druckmann to me is kind of up his own ass right now, and giving him this praise is going to make him more of a monster, in my opinion. But that's another story. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did, definitely. But it was really good, and I can't wait for episode 4. So, with that being said, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.